and you inspired me, and I don't know if you remember.
Not this again.
You inspired me.
Shit, look, he's been holding. No, hold on a second.
Listen, he's inspired me.
He's been holding on to this for 20 years.
I'm just saying.
Welcome back to the OGs, a Playmaker original presented by DraftKings, and we have a special guest in the building today.
Listen, I get excited very few times.
Whoa, I got excitement. All right.
We got a 305 legend.
305 legend.
Yeah, we got a 305 legend in the building today.
We do have a 305 legend.
We
got two 305 legends.
He's definitely a
in the building.
305 legend. You know what I'm saying? So I'm
that
excited
is
about
knighthood right there. I've gotten very few compliments better than that one. Thank you,
Let me introduce him.
An expert at buttering up the guests before you interview him.
Yes, listen. You know I love Poppy.
Yes.
So you know how that is. That's my guy.
Yeah.
305 legend in the house, Dan Batard.
That's right. Hey.
And we also talking about what he's doing now and the lane that we're moving into. So there was a time where you admired what we do, but right now we're admiring what you do.
Yes, right.
Wow, thank you. I still admire what you guys do. I hope that your audience understands that the treasure that I'm presently sitting in flatters me greatly to be among these two guys who represented the things they represented so professionally in Miami and beyond. But to see your friendship on display in a relationship show as you go after the content industry with the same sort of competitiveness that you went after people in the previous line of work, it's an honor to be here because this is the first soldier of the crime family of Miami that Pat Riley has godfathered. He's the general's best soldier, and when he says, that I'm 305, That's it right. is. I've always been proud to represent my father and I both Miami the way we represent it. So thank you guys for having me here. It is a genuine thrill too. I've admired you guys since the University of Florida.
Well, we appreciate that.
Since Miami High.
Yes, the high school sports show. Remember you used to have the high school sports show?
Yes.
We talk about that.
Yes.
Let's talk about it. Let's go right into it.
Yeah, Dad used to have this high school sports show that used to come on every weekend. And they used to feature the players who had good games throughout the week. And
were you ever on there?
All the time, needless to say.
Yeah.
I felt like a regular on Dan's show, by the way.
He was a champion. Frank Martin was the coach, right?
Yes.
I think, and I don't want to get too deep in the weeds here, it's a positive experience. I think he was being shipped in from Miramar to play in Miami because he was so good at basketball. We won't talk about that. They won the championship, obviously.
No, feel free to talk about it.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know what the addresses were.
Dan, listen. I looked at that roster every year. It was always a 27-year-old from somewhere playing.
On whose team?
On whose team?
Man, stop it.
You feathers?
Stop it. Listen, let me tell you something. I will admit this. When I relocated back to Miami, was I necessarily in Miami High's school zone? No. But that didn't matter.
No,
it was the best situation for me as a kid. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew where I wanted to go in life. So I did what I had to do to get there.
Listen, I don't hate on it at all.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't hate on it at all.
Yeah, of course not. We ain't going to get into those stories. But listen, the truth about that is, I'll say this. If I wouldn't have went to Miami High, I wouldn't be sitting here today. So I made a sacrifice that I needed to make to put myself in a position to succeed and be successful. And that was all that I was about. I needed the discipline from Frank Martin. I needed the coaching from Frank Martin. I needed the work ethic from Frank Martin because then I was lazy. You know what I'm saying? So those were things that I needed. You know what I'm saying? And the only place I can get those things was from Frank Martin at Miami High.
It makes me happy all the time. He's got a relationship with my father. He's really kind to my mother. But seeing him so skinny and healthy all the time as a grown-up professional in many ways, but also when he says he was undisciplined at the University of Florida, how much were you weighing?
275.
275. Like always a talent, but through work and will and everything else.
No doubt.
It makes no sense that someone of this general size would lead the Miami Heat career in rebounds. I'm not like that.
All right, Dan, now take it easy.
It's the truth.
God damn it now. Enough.
But you tell me if I'm wrong. Look, Alonzo Mourning, great rebounder, giant of a man.
Yeah.
You have to have a pretty substantive will to
doubt.
be in this frame and bang against that. For him to be the leading rebounder in league in team history is amazing.
Dan, I'm gonna tell you a story. I've shared it on here before, so everyone that's listening, please forgive me. But I drop him off at the airport when he goes overseas after he goes undrafted. Right? He was the Florida Udonis, right? Florida UD. I go pick him up a year later, and I'd passed him twice, didn't recognize him. But he did. He figured it like it was. He's always at Florida. I don't know Miami High, but at Florida he was always a hard ass worker, and he dominated college basketball. But the fact that he came back looking like that, I was like, okay.
But I'm not kidding you when I tell you like an inspiration physically, because I've always struggled with my weight. Like to see him be teaching me stuff from back then there are very few athletes that I've covered as long as I've covered him. It's basically him and Alex Rodriguez. That's the list from high school.
That's love. That's love. Well, I would say this. You inspired me. And you inspired me, and I don't know if you remember.
Not this again.
You inspired me.
Shit, look, he's been holding. No, hold on a second.
Listen, he's inspired me.
He's been holding on to this for 20 years.
I'm just saying. I remember the article. It was right when we signed Shaquille O'Neal to the Miami Heat. And an article comes out that says Shaquille O'Neal has never won with a power forward under 6'10". Now, he didn't say my name, but clearly
I knew better. I knew better than to say his name. I knew better.
I have not touched 6'10".
Did you go to see your tape measure?
No, I immediately said I will kick Travis Knight's ass. And this had nothing to do with you, Travis Knight, so I apologize. But the fact that Travis Knight could win with Shaq, and I couldn't.
Look, I'm not going to say the man next to you that you know to be very tough can be sensitive about things.
That was inspiration.
Him reaching and holding on to that little ball of resentment for 25 years to hit me with it now is remembering something that was barely a slight. And a fact. Someone physically smaller than 6'10" hadn't won a championship with Shaquille O'Neal.
Until when, UD?
Until me.
That's right.
But I mean, it was never an issue where I had an issue with Dan, but immediately it's like, I'm gonna show you. And that was all those moments in my career who brought me to who I am, man. And you know what I'm saying?
You did. You showed all of us in a lot of different ways. Like when I admire the things he is from high school on, it includes, after George Floyd, as a spokesman for the city, for the Miami Heat, for the police department. The man the Heat sent out was not Pat Riley or Mickey Harrison. They asked him, their best soldier, to do it for them, and he's just been that in our community for a long time. Like, the authenticity of Udonis Haslem, I hope people watching this understand the treasure that this show is, that, especially for Miami, that these two guys share this with their friendship with you.
We appreciate it. Well, I will say this, and we did the introduction, but you are a legend in the journalism field.
You have given us flowers, but we got to give you yours.
And so I guess what I would ask in return is give us some advice. We're just getting into this. We're trying to figure out this side of the thing. Because we were basketball players our entire life. Now we got to come on this side of it. Give us some advice on what we should look at.
Okay, man, you got everything over here. You got agents, you got TV, you got drug dealers. It's all this over here. Like, we do everything over here. I mean, I work with the Flowery. He an agent. He represent players. Like, just give us advice because you got everything on this panel.
Wow, thank you. That makes it sound like I know what I'm doing. I never thought I would be an entrepreneur. I did take some very good advice from Pat Riley many years ago. We were doing a larger story about life and work, and he was saying if it were possible, what he would advise anybody in work who was working hard to change careers every 10 years. It's not possible from law to doctor, so you can always be reinvigorated on the hunger. You guys are now, after 20 years, on a different kind of path. So I've done writing, and then 10 years later, I did radio, I did television, so this is the forced entrepreneurial part of my career. And what I've learned, especially when you have the real power and strength of brand that you guys have, where people like you and they feel like they know you, is you cannot let anybody make you anyone other than yourselves. When you're presenting on First Take or here, that you are speaking truly, people will gravitate, especially now, to authentic people and things. And so no matter how much pressure you get from anybody, from the economy of all of this, you should make your own choices about when you want to be clickbait, when you want to protect the people you care about, and you should make this a family business in all the ways that he has learned that the Miami Heat are the family business.
You said it, you went from writing to radio to TV, and it's all kind of a loaded, hard question. But what did you enjoy most? What did you learn from those things? What was you felt like was the biggest impact?
Writing was the most fulfilling. It was the hardest, and so it was the most fulfilling. Television was a really unusual blessing because I got to get old with my father on television and have a different relationship with my father in adulthood than I had as a child, with sports as the bond. So, like, that's really personal. And then radio was the most fun and the most communal because writing is super lonely. It's not a team sport. I imagine you guys wouldn't miss tennis if because the locker room is some of what you miss.
Exactly right.
The sharing, the joy. I'm not even going to call it joy because you guys got championship joy. But the work ain't very joyous around the Miami Heat, or in competition. Like fighting people for money is unpleasant, which is what you're doing now in business. So I don't know that I answered the question, but what I'm doing now and trying to figure out the evolution of all of those things while taking care of 50 employees, a family business, a media business in Miami. I'm proud of that. My father's a Cuban exile. Came to this country for freedom. My brother was an artist, and in the arts, I'm able to do like a creative, free thing, and so I'm proud that, and I get to do it here across from the arena, like a business built next to the arena because of all of the things you guys built there.
You talk about Poppy. Whose idea is this? Because this is fantastic.
I think this is genius.
This is genius.
To include your father,
no doubt,
and he has charisma, he's funny, I mean, he's quick-witted. Like, whose idea was that?
Okay, so
Look at the screen. This is the best. I mean, that right there, that's a wall.
This is a great story. You're bringing up a couple of great memories for me here. One of them is the hardest I've ever seen Udonis laugh. I've seen him cry. I've seen him cry in a locker room. He still denies it, but I've seen him cry.
Champagne in my eye. It burned.
Yeah, and I've seen him laugh very hard to the point that I returned into the studio and my father was physically holding up Udonis, who was laughing, because he was watching my father doing videos with people like Lil Wayne where he does collaborations with them. But this particular story is funny because Lil Wayne comes in the studio. He's got all the Lil Wayne people. Yeah. It's just a giant plume of marijuana smoke that comes in.
We call that cologne.
Yeah,
we call that cologne. You know?
I got to ask you about Antoine. I've wanted an Antoine for a long time. I've got to ask you about this. The thing that happened here was Lil Wayne comes in and he is behaving around my father. I'm not lying to you guys. The way a 5-year-old at Disney would behave around seeing its favorite cartoon character for the first time. Yeah. He's hiding behind my leg. He's looking at him. I'm not kidding you. He's got $100,000 in diamonds in his mouth, and he leaves, and my father's affable, and Lil Wayne was totally starstruck. And as soon as Lil Wayne leaves, my father looks at me with that accent and says, "Who the was that?"
Hey, hold on. Now that we got the story, play the clip.
Are you high right now? Do you ever get nervous? Are you single? I hear you. You're a girl. Is it true? You getting money? You think them dudes you with is with you? And I say, hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. Right. All right. And I say, hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. Right. All right.
So deep, bro. You're a trap legend, bro.
I mean, that's awesome right there, though.
That's amazing.
You can't play enough of those for me. Like that. So I didn't answer your question, though. I really don't remember where it started. I can't pretend that it was anybody's great idea. But once we started doing it, I don't know if it was suggested by somebody. We did it with Luther Campbell one time. I think if you guys found the one with Luther Campbell, find that one with Luther Campbell where we dissolved laughing. I think that's where we started it back when we did the show in Hialeah and it was a fake Cuban kitchen. I'd like to watch that with you guys. I think you guys will find that one funny.
We'll pull that up. But you said you had a question for him.
Well, yeah. Well, I hope I'm assuming, because you always are just a very real person, and I assume that this endeavor is authentic, like all your endeavors are. You probably didn't even know about this, but on the radio, because the only public blemish on your record in 25 years of master professionalism is something happened with an arrest and a car and marijuana, and took the hit. And I assumed that you had it on staff, and I wanted it on staff so that you could get in trouble.
He talking about Drac.
You talking about Drac?
You know him as
Drac's
Drac.
my homeboy.
So somebody who was so about Udonis Haslem that, of course, that stain would not end up on Udonis Haslem, is taking the hit on that because he has learned that Udonis Haslem must be protected.
Well, first things first,
Drac.
Dan, is we ain't supposed to say his real name.
Well, okay, but I didn't know that.
Today it's Drac.
Drac.
Okay.
We're going to say Drac. We're going to leave it at
In this room.
No, Drac is not here today. Drac is not here today. First of all, how the hell did you know that? That's what I need to know.
Hey, that's called media.
It was reported in the newspaper. That was not my news. It was reported, and then I read about that, and
Tell the story.
Well, yeah, we were pulled over. We were arrested, and
Cologne?
There was marijuana in the car. You know what I'm saying? And it was under the passenger seat, and I was in the driver's seat.
Oh, so it was Drac's fault.
How can you put it on me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But they didn't want to hear that. Let's just say I got put in a cell with like 10 people that weekend, and he got the cell by himself. Oh yeah, that's how they did me, killer. They did me dirty. Yeah, they had me sitting on the curb in a white beater in the rain.
What?
Oh yeah, they did me dirty. But at the end of the day, my record got expunged. I got found not guilty, and that's how it went. But
A model citizen. I'm sorry to bring up your dirt, Udonis. I thought I'd give some people the clicks to find out. Udonis isn't as clean as he always
innocent
seems.
to proven guilty,
Innocent,
and I'm
yeah,
still innocent.
exactly
Innocent
right.
to prove, and now it's
Exactly
legal,
right.
so they can't bother me. I got my card and everything. You want to see it?
It's an old kitchen. I will
Uncle
tell you.
Luke. Look at Iz. You got a lot of
Let me see
Miami
this.
guys up there.
No,
Luke,
this isn't
you
the one though.
Iz.
It's an older one. You can do this one too, but there's just one on YouTube where it's Doo-Doo Brown is what it is. It's Doo-Doo Brown.
Oh, Doodoo Brown,
It's
Doodoo Brown,
it's
Doodoo Brown.
Luther Campbell with my father doing Doo-Doo Brown. If you find that, I think I'm going to make Udonis Haslem laugh again.
Oh, I got to see that. I didn't know he did the Doodoo Brown.
Oh, there it is, right there. Okay, there it is.
I hope you enjoyed this commercial break. Let me hear you say, hey, hey, and mo hey. Hey, hey, and mo
He
hey.
said, you know what he said?
And mo
Head, and mo head.
Say,
He said, hey, hey.
Doodoo Brown.
Yeah.
Doodoo Brown. Come to the
Hey, rewind that.
You ain't know what he was saying.
No.
Hey, hey, and mo hey.
Hey,
Let me hear you say, Doodoo Brown.
hey, listen.
Doodoo Brown.
I just want you to walk in your house playing this. Just walk in your house and play this when you get in the house. Head, and mo head.
Hey, by the way, that's genius.
That's crazy.
That's genius.
Thank you.
That
Thank
is
you.
crazy. That is so. You didn't understand what he was saying. Head,
and mo head.
and mo head.
I am going to go home
I
singing
didn't
that.
hear it that way. It's a Cuban accent. He
That's
was
right,
saying,
that's right,
hey,
that's
hey, clearly, hey,
That
hey.
is
Clearly,
hilarious. That is hilarious. We've got just a few games left this season, with 8 teams battling out to make the conference championship. Get in on the action right now with my partners at DraftKings Sportsbook. They offering all new customers $200 in bonus bets instantly after betting just $5. Don't let this slip away. Download the DraftKings app now and sign up. Use code OGs. The crown is yours. Stay in on all the action and use your $200 in bonus bets on DraftKings same game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Combine multiple bets together from the same game. Love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings got you covered. Bet live on in-progress games right as they happen, making watching the game that much more exciting. If sports betting is not available in your state, don't even worry about it. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have the shot to win cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use my promo code OGs and bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code OGs only on DraftKings Sportsbook.
Yo, what time is it? Game time. It's exciting time of the year to be a sports fan. The NFL playoffs are here, NBA is in full swing, and there's no better place to get tickets than Game Time. They make getting tickets fast and easy. Game Time has a new feature, Game Time Picks, that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events and games even easier. Game Time Pick filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. What I like about Game Time app, aside from the new Game Time Picks feature, is the all-in pricing, so there's no surprise fees at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Just download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code OGs for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code OGs for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Remember, what time did I say it was? Y'all read that. It's game time, baby.
Fellas, Valentine's Day right around the corner, but you do not have to wait till that special day to show up and show out. With Roast Sparks, you can perform 7 days a week and twice on Sundays, fellas. You don't even gotta wait. Do your thing. Get it poppin'. We all know that the best gifts we can give our women are experiences, vacations, holidays, anniversaries. Take them around the world, get that passport, surprise them. They love that. But don't show up and not show out. Make sure you bring that Roast Sparks. Complete the journey. Finish the mission. Understand the assignment, my boy. Because if you don't, you're gonna be spending all that money, she's still gonna be disappointed. And it's not gonna be memorable. I'm depending on you, gentlemen. Go get that Roast Sparks and handle your business. Roast Sparks are a 2-in-1 prescription treatment for harder, stronger erections. They hit the bloodstream faster because they dissolve under the tongue. And getting harder faster means clapping more cheeks. After they dissolve, they work in 15 minutes on average, fellas. If prescribed, new sexual health patients get $15 off Sparks on a recurring plan. Connect with the provider at ro.co/OGs. To find out if prescription Roast Sparks are right for you, that's ro.co/OGs for $15 off your first order.
Talk about first starting covering the Miami Heat. What just the transitions of all the stuff, all Miami. Because you've seen it from the beginning.
Yeah, so and it's crazy. Before Pat Riley, there was 1988. Miami doesn't have any major sports, really. It's the Dolphins and nothing else, and they're going to teach us about sports. They're going to help make us major league. It's before the Panthers are here. They get here before baseball. Basketball is going to try and take over a football town. They go through Ron Rothstein and Kevin Lockery, and once Pat Riley gets here with Mickey Arison, people think it was the big time. It was not the big time. They were practicing like adjacent to a hospital in like this.
Yes.
Like Pat Riley went from the top of basketball, Showtime, New York, to coming to Miami, and they dressed it up as something that was fancy, but it was like, it was the NBA in a spring break town. Like it was, it was beneath. It was as if Pat Riley
were they practicing at LaSalle?
No, this is before LaSalle.
Before LaSalle?
Before LaSalle, off the Palmetto, they were adjacent to a hospital. LaSalle was the upgrade.
Oh,
Yes, a high school gym was the upgrade.
LaSalle was a high school gym, by the way.
So to see it grow from there, right? So you're hiring all the pizzazz of whatever Pat Riley is, and he brought the credibility, and then he built something that actually mattered. But where it started, it was minor league. Like it was the very beginnings of Heat basketball were them trying hard, but not really knowing what they were doing. And then when, and you know how the organizations run, when the Arisons and Riley and all of them get together to build everything that the architecture of the place has been built around, they achieved everything that they achieved from like with I'm going to say family values, yes. Right? Like
yes.
Because your building is amazing to me. Okay, I think it's like a military complex for millionaires. Like it's a military school. It feels part science lab, humans as test pigeons for how far can we push the human body on pain and excellence. Do I have anything wrong here? No?
That's about right.
Sounds pretty accurate.
It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody.
No.
Sounds pretty accurate.
You're going to find out a lot about yourself in that building.
Look, the first word in culture is cult. Okay? Like
that's a good one. That's a good one.
No, it is.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
No, so look, so you guys, people think playing a game for money, that must be fun. You guys were in a military environment where you had to be more disciplined than other people from Serbia and the inner cities competing for money. You had to be more disciplined than them, better shape, tougher than them. That was honed in the furnace of whatever Pat Riley built around the glowing nuclear epicenter that building has been in this city, and for this, for the regional pride of this city as basketball ripped the town away from football. The Dolphins, the undefeated Dolphins, Shula's Expressway, Shula's Steakhouse, ripped the city from the Dolphins because you guys built this this orb of glowing nuclear excellence that you guys were thrown in the maw of the furnace, fed your feet and your knees and your elbows and fed to the machine so that it could like feed everybody. It's pretty cool.
I love the way you broke that down.
So
by the way.
do I.
Nobody's ever broken it down like that. I wish I could explain it like that. Damn.
That was elite right there.
Well, but here, so because I admire you guys so much because I don't really believe that people see the sacrifices you made. Man, Mike Miller was walking with a bad back out of the womb. I don't think of him. I think of him, and he's not a graceful athlete in Florida at the University of Florida. I think of him as somebody who has had a bad back since college, like always walking like, because I imagine he's always in physical pain and overcame it and beat other people all the time to win championships while taking less money. While this guy takes less money, doesn't go to Denver because his mom is on her deathbed, and Pat Riley and the organization drives to his mom's funeral because they're there for him, because he connects with the organization from a place that, Mom, I'm taking many fewer millions. Do I have any of this wrong?
Not
to
yet.
stay in Miami, and it's the last time he sees his mother smile. Correct?
Yes. That's true.
Damn.
That's true.
I really admire.
You do your damn homework, Dan.
No
I'll tell you
doubt.
that. You
Yes,
don't show up to
Buddy,
the
I've
test
been-
unprepared, do you?
I've been covering you guys for a long time and admiring what you do, and disappointed that the sports media doesn't do a better job of just celebrating all that is, so that the media can have relationships with you guys that are not contentious and that are just more humanizing.
I'm happy you brought that up, because we talk about sports media now. We talk about having relationships with players, but now sports media is at a place where you can get it straight from the player and the source, and you don't have to have a relationship with the players. Do you think that's healthy? You think it's better that way? Did you see this coming?
I would say that it's obviously threatening, right? Because the media has had a very safe space. ESPN did a fascinating, interesting, smart thing. They took the credibility of newspapers for 15 years, made themselves a journalism outfit when they don't have to, and put a bunch of TV people, journalism people, on television, and gave a lot of these good jobs to journalists.
Yes.
Now the athletes are coming for those jobs, the Pat McAfees, the Shannon Sharps. I am in the vanity business. The vanity business tends to be pretty insecure. We're not as tough as you guys are about competition. So that stuff could be seen as threatening from every angle. But I both welcome that fight and love the democracy of that process. I want you guys to get the audience that you crave and deserve, because you know how to get audience being the things that you are about. And I'm profoundly grateful that I get to make a living doing some of this stuff this way in this city, because I just can't believe that all of this exists for us in the media space, that it's all, that the entire media business is crumbling and shaking. Streaming services, Hollywood, Disney, all of it is under pressure and duress. And we're able to do something, me independently and you guys, that is fun and different, and by making it threatening to us, you can change the way we do business, because you force us to be better, because now there's a threat in the environment.
You talk about the change. So talk about metal art. What was the idea of all this, and you know, like you said, you talk about the change. So I'd like to hear about how you.
It's one thing to be a boss, excuse me, and it's another thing to be a worker.
Exactly.
But it takes courage to, like you say, you have 50 people that you employ. It takes courage to take that next step. Talk about, like you said, just talk about that courage.
So I wish it were courage, or I defined it as courage, because I'd be kinder to myself, and because I think of courage as not the absence of fear, but being able to overcome fear. I wasn't fearful. I was pushed into a position that I wasn't expecting, because ESPN let go of my mentor's son, who worked on the show without telling me, and it was a disrespect I couldn't abide. And so I left the ESPN, but I didn't think of it as courageous. I just thought of it as sort of duty bound. Like, if you're going to rent my father's accent because you underserve the Hispanic demographic and need a Latin television show, you're not going to think that you also own my voice when you rent his accent. And so I I had to leave, and so I don't know if you guys have ever had principled fights that you don't think of as brave just because you just have to do something.
We call that standing on business.
You said it so much better than that.
We call that standing on business,
I
Dan.
used so many words to say something.
We call that standing on business.
I wish I said it that way.
That's what you did.
Yeah.
You stood on business.
Yeah.
For
So,
sure.
but so you asked me, I'm not a business person. I don't. This is now scary because I have the responsibility of people I care about. But that's also the beautiful part, right? Like it can be the responsibility, or I've built a media company in Miami that exists even as media companies shake, and they know that we've got a solid thing. And our listeners also know. See, this is what I'd like for you guys to build, where they really see the treasure of who it is you are and what your relationship is. Our listener and our listeners and our audience went with us, at least in part because they knew that we were the show that if you let go of one of us, we're all going. And when you connect with your entertainment vehicle from there, in this streaming environment, right? We got an army that'll follow us anywhere for 3 hours a day because they're like, no, I ride with these anywhere.
That's because you stand on business.
It is a high honor to get that from you guys. I cannot tell you how ridiculous I feel getting that flattery from you two people.
It's true.
Thank you. You don't know how much that honors me. I feel like I'm living in a cartoon right now.
I mean, oftentimes we see people in a situation, bro, and when it comes to money, people sell the things they values and things go out the window. So I got to commend you for that, bro, because that's not the norm anymore these days. You know what I'm saying? The morals, you know, having compassion for people in certain situations and all those different things, nobody takes that into consideration anymore. You know, I'm gonna follow the money, where the money lead me. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about this, I don't care about that. And a lot of times we throw our morals and the way we was raised out of the window when it comes to money. So I commend you for that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you think it was courageous, but I think it was.
I thank you for that. I just didn't, there wasn't a choice. It didn't feel like it was a choice to conquer my fears. It just sort of felt like you have to take care of your own. I would imagine, based on what I've seen of you two playing together, going through the fire together, and doing this together, I would imagine that this man is a brother to you. He is not, it's not family in some sort of way that everyone says family, and not even like other teammates.
Yes.
Not even like that this is a level of brotherhood that will be forever.
For sure.
Yeah, we almost named the show Ebony and Ivory. No.
We did.
That was one of the top. That was one of the names. We was like, they gonna think we soft. We probably don't want to start with that. But we almost used that. We almost used that.
Is slightly less soft than Ebony and Ivory. Yeah. I was going to actually ask you guys what was the second name choice before you settled on
Ebony and Ivory.
Our wives was really pushing for that shit. Our wives was pushing that shit hard, man. I mean, my wife don't even talk to me in the morning, and she was slipping that shit in. I was like, yeah, okay, now we friends because you want something.
Hey, Dan, I will say this. Before we got on here, you talked a little bit about, Udonis, UD, because I think he does an amazing job.
Boy, did you just call me
I was about to call
Udonis?
you Udonis, which is weird to me.
Stop,
I've never.
cat.
I know.
Don't you
UD.
dare. My wife calls me Udonis. That's about it.
But I think he does an awesome job with this part of the business, right? But you said some stuff off there because I think it's important for people to see, like, how do you, in this side of the business, how do you still entertain, but at the same time maintain the integrity of it, right? Like, be who you are. I know you said
a great
that.
question, Killer.
But like, that's something I'd be very interested to hear.
So I don't know if you guys have noticed, so Hollywood soon is going to be just Netflix and Amazon, and there's sort of a hedge fund corporate overrun of less interesting things are going to be made, less political things are going to be made. It's going to be, your content's going to be a little bit antiseptic. Part of the reason that we did everything that we did beyond the principled stand of you can't kick out a family member like that, is because my parents are Cuban exiles, and freedom has always been the most important thing to me. Like, it matters. I've never negotiated contract money, to his point. I've always negotiated, how do I get to say what I want, do what I want, let my father do what he wants without interference? And so one of the places I aired at ESPN is that I wasn't more ambitious about let me have more, because I wanted just freedom to be left alone. I didn't want people to see too much of what we were doing. I remember how I got suspended because I'm trying to put LeBron billboards up in Akron telling him, you're welcome, love Miami. And I get I get suspended.
You got suspended?
Yeah, I got suspended for it because they weren't listening to the show. If they'd been, which is what I wanted. But I got suspended for not telling anybody we were going to do that. But we were talking about it in the air for 2 weeks because I had the freedom that nobody was listening. Yeah. But I didn't want corporate intervention. So to the point that you're making about how do you navigate all that while being entertaining. I've learned a lot of things in journalism. In my 20s, I learned from a lot of, I will say, righteous, judgmental sports columnists that the job was to judge the athlete and rain down judgment on the athlete and critique. That's how I learned to do the job in my 20s. That's the wrong way to do it. I regret some things I wrote about Alonzo Mourning and loyalty. I was learning how to do the job from others, didn't have my own voice, didn't know how to do it. The next 30 years after that are all about how do I get to the freedom of learning all the things to do so that I can do this exactly the way that I want to by the end without any interference at all. And it's why we got in trouble on some of the stuff that we did at ESPN, because it was bucking against some of their rules.
Wow, 2 things with that. One is, now that I know that's what y'all was taught, it don't make me as mad as y'all no more. Because that's just what y'all was taught. So that'll make me as mad with y'all no more. You know how it is. Like when y'all come in the locker room, everybody hear these motherfuckers go. Here these motherfuckers go again. But the second part of that, who can I call to put up a billboard in somebody else's city to talk my
That's pretty
How
good.
was you able to do that? That's legendary.
That's pretty good.
I'm proud of that one.
That's legendary. I need that number.
That one was good. The backstory on that one is funny because originally I'm trying to buy a newspaper ad. They say it's $100,000 just to put a newspaper ad.
A newspaper ad?
Yeah, well, back then, yeah, it's a little longer ago, but you're right, it shouldn't have been that much, but we were looking for estimates, and the Cleveland Plain dealer, because LeBron was coming back home, refused to sell it to us. They said, no, we're not doing that. They refused our business. And so we needed an alternative, and it turns out that Akron billboards are like much less than that. And so they saved me a lot of money, and it was like 11 or 6 Akron, I don't remember how many Akron billboards, and they all said, yes, you're welcome, LeBron, love Miami is what they said.
Wow.
Yes. And I was going to fly a plane over his homecoming that said the same thing. It was set up. I had the banner and everything. It was set up. I will tell you a secret. I'll tell you a secret I've never told before. That ESPN made me immediately take down the billboards, and they immediately told me you can't fly that plane. And so I got a call from a high-ranking member of the Miami Heat organization saying, I'm going to fly the plane. I'm going to do it. And I'm like, you can't do that. You can't do that. I'm going to get fired. You're going to get me fired. I'm not going to have plausible deniability that somebody else fly the plane. It's going to look like an act of insubordination.
You should have called me.
Hey, listen. Whoever was talking about flying that plane was probably willing to go down with the it was a dark cloud over us for a while. No, listen, we were in the funk for a while when we lost the king around here. I mean, that's I don't know.
Yeah,
that's just natural. It was a little dark cloud over us for a minute when he left.
Talk about that though. So you're in the obviously the media uproar when Bron chose to come here, and then when Bron chooses to leave here. So talk about
you're on both sides.
Yeah, talk about the highs and lows of on your side, what you're hearing, what you're seeing, what's going on when he says he's coming and the big three comes, and then when he leaves. I'd just like to hear the difference.
I mean, I was just profoundly grateful for all of it. It was just, it's a content bonanza. You're coming down to our city and you're making us like this just electrical pulsating thing for Paul Millsap's Game 17, and you're like watching this thing that matters so much to the city because it's very much Miami against the United States. The only other time it's been like that was University of Miami football teams that make him stop being a Gator for a second. You know, like those because what those teams were hated and Miami forged around them, and it was like, yes, this is an ethnic, fun team that tramples sportsmanship. You guys were that polarizing without any of the bad, like without any of the stuff that was going to horrify the white customers.
That you knew about. That you knew about.
That you knew about, right? But you guys, so you're this polarizing thing, coast to coast, and only polarizing because you celebrated the championship before we dribbled the basketball down here.
No, but I want to hear something crazy because you touched on it earlier about how hard it is and it's not fun. People don't understand that. People think like once we got that team together that it was fun and it just meshed and it just gelled and we had the parade. I tell people all the time, nothing about that was fun until you were riding down the street in that parade. That's the only part about that that was fun. None of that was fun because there was expectations. And we understood those expectations. If we don't win, they're going to blow this up. And now we sacrifice money, we sacrifice time. Mike talked about this before. We sacrifice money, we sacrifice time, and we getting traded some.
And we're a game away.
A game away.
Yeah.
A game in Boston away from your sacrifices.
Meant nothing.
Echoing laughter about
Exactly
the
right.
sacrifices
Exactly right.
that you made. Laughing stocks because you guys took all the discounts and look at that. It was supposed to be easy. One of the weird things that I'll never get though, because God, you guys changed the sport so much over the last 15 years. So I figure that it's going to be easy those years, and it wasn't easy. And I think you guys get the reputation that you have as hard-earned champions because it was hard. If it had been easy, it would have LeBron would have been looked at less than, and Dwayne too if it had been easy. But the part that was confusing to me, so Durant sees him do that, and LeBron did that because Pierce and Garnett and Allen were together, and Durant does it, and they win easily. And I'm like, well, that must be fun, right? Like, they win easily. Like, it must be fun to play basketball like that. That's the greatest thing I ever have seen. You can pass to Durant, or you can pass to Steph, and Draymond will do all the shit only he wants to do.
Let me ask you this, because you're on the
But
media.
how was that not easy and fun for him?
Why? And because I want to talk about this, and this is what I noticed. Why was the Miami Heat's team hated for the decision we made, but I think Golden State team was loved?
We were more first. Everyone
Golden
gets
State, they love Clay, they love Steph. That team was lifted, and they were loved. But when Bron came to us, we were hated. Why was that a different reaction from the media and from the world?
I can answer it too. I think honestly, and I'm gonna let you answer it too because you're way better at it than I am. But I think the reality is like they hated us so much for doing it that they had to love someone else to do it for again, right? Like they hated us for doing it.
They did.
They hated us for doing it. And I don't know how you guys saw it on the media side of things, but like it was a blessing to me because I'd never been in relevance in the NBA. Like I hadn't been in relevance. It's the reason I came here. I wanted to see what I do on the stage. I wanted to like either I was going to shit myself or I'm going to actually perform. But that to me is they hated us so much that now you need someone to like. And when they did it, I think it was more of the like on that side.
I thought it was because Steph and Clay was light skinned. That's what I thought. I'm just being honest.
See,
You know, it was going around.
Stand on business.
I said, here we go with that light skin again.
I had the undercurrent of it, and I'm like, I can't say that. I felt it off him, and I'm like thinking to myself.
That's that light skin.
See, I say 20 words. He says light skin. Just like stand on business.
But also.
But am I wrong? Am I wrong about that?
Look.
Not the light skin part, the other part about how the two teams were perceived differently.
I don't think you're wrong, and I think there are a lot of variables, and I think you were first, and look, that doing the thing on the stage.
Yes.
I don't need to tell you that arrogant black athlete, however it is that you arrive at arrogant black athlete, celebrating something before it has been earned is going to be seen a certain way. So there's that, but I'd put that off to the side. I'd also put in there that Dwayne and LeBron, throughout all of that, became adult spokesmen for things ranging from Trayvon Martin to we need to improve our schools, and became adults in a way that Steph and Clay have not had to, because Dwayne and LeBron were already doing that and were sort of leaders there. And like I found that entire time fascinating, captivating for a lot of different reasons. The brotherhood of Dwayne and LeBron was beautiful. LeBron coming here and taking a little brother role and doing 2 media sessions a day and wanting to learn from Dwayne. It's a beautiful story. If I wrapped that story in the Olympic flag and made it about like Olympic patriotism, we would love that team, right? Steve Kerr I wrote that one time, and Steve Kerr wrote me a note saying, before he coached the Warriors, what a beautiful thing to write in the middle of what that was going on, where I'm like, Do you know how much America would love this particular team and this story? It's pieces, right? When I'm saying, Mike, going to his mother's deathbed with a team who drives a convoy to the funeral home to be at his side.
Pat Riley in Liberty City, 9 o'clock. I'm like, Pat, by 9:30, you're going to have to get up out of here. Like, real talk, Pat. You got about 30 more minutes. I'm going to walk you to your car. But Pat was, they came.
That he would love Dwayne the way that he does, the game balls, that I'm going after Tyler Hansbrough, like all the stuff you guys had. I was so proud to write about it, to see it, to feel it, to be next to it, to profit off of it, because you guys brought a whole economy of attention down here to sports. You guys, I moved to the Clevelander. We got a studio. I'm doing a Speedo bet with Charles Barkley. We're at the center of the universe. In sports, because you guys brought all of that here. Him with his bad back.
Still bad.
Still trying
He
to.
said came out of the womb with a bad back. It's nuts.
But I don't. What you don't know about that story, I'll tell you something you don't know about that story. Is me and Mike were talking about that story, and we talked about what they offered him, and we talked about what we were going to do because of the brotherhood that we have. And Mike, crazy as hell, he was like, "Yeah, if you ain't going, I ain't going." You know what I'm saying? And that's what my brother was like. What we gonna do here?
It's so
cool because we
cool.
always wanted to have the chance to play together. We talked about that since college. But that was around the time that the game was changing, and the 3-point shot was what it was. It was either dunks in the paint or it was 3-point shots. So obviously Mike was the choice at that moment. But we were having conversations behind the scenes because you talk about that brotherhood and those things and those conversations. And then another point that people don't know is LeBron didn't know me. Never played with me. Chris Bosh didn't know me. Never played with me.
You were on Dwayne Wade's word, is
And
what
when-
you were
yep,
on. Dwayne,
yep,
Dwayne
yep.
Wade cashed that check, and it's like, we're all going to share our money here, and this is going to be fun, right? The 5 of us.
We thought so. We thought.
This is going to be fun. We'll take the discounts. We'll sign. You guys they weren't signing contracts until the stage was coming up, right?
Yeah.
And you guys are taking millions less, and it's crazy to think that sports would be such a cauldron that you guys couldn't enjoy any of that when it seemed like, from where I was watching, it was the most magical thing.
That was a rough 4 years. Made it to the final.
Only three for me.
It was.
It broke him. Yeah, it broke him. He was losing shoes at the end.
I got shipped out.
His
You went out with a bang, though, killer. You went out with a bang, though.
They backed me up and shipped me out.
You did. Look, but how great is that?
Oh, yeah.
You wanted to test yourself against. How cool is that, Mike? This is what I'm saying about what the cool parts of this story were. How cool is it
Yes.
that he wants to test himself against the best? He could have scored 20 a night for Memphis for the rest of time. No, I want to play against the best. They think he's taking a shortcut. No, no. If you give me 15 shots a game, I swear to you, I'll score 30 points a game. Like, he knows he can shoot.
Yes.
He's taking a lesser role in the name of the sacrifice of, everybody wants to be about winning, right? Brotherhood, winning, these are cool things. For him to physically test himself against the best, I don't know what it's like to get up in the morning as his physical body. It seems like it would be awful. Lose a shoe, starts making threes, helps win the championship. It's a beautiful story, man.
So the way you see it now,
it's beautiful.
the way you see it
really
now,
is.
did you always see it like that? Or now as you've gotten older and you've become more experienced and there's different ways to look at this media thing, is that how you see it now?
It's not even the media thing. It's sports and life. I really appreciate the hard things that people do to be excellent. Writers, one of the things about the sports media that I think I can say, it's probably a generalization, but we love sports. We're just not good enough to do what it is that you guys did, but telling the stories about it and loving it and celebrating it and being awed by the strength in it. I've learned that. Sports has taught me that. Like I told you, when I started in my career, the job was to remind Udonis Haslem that Shaq has never had a power forward that was 6'10", that he's wanted
Lit my
to do
goddamn
whatever.
fire immediately.
It was just to criticize or to be critical, to not, and what I've learned is just to really, by talking to you guys, having relationships with you, you guys were maximum professionals. You guys always answered our questions. We're still the high school nerds that are near the jocks in high school. Everything in adulthood is a little bit high school. and you guys always tolerated us buzzing around the locker room, and he never made us feel the way that You know, the locker room doors open. We might as well be spilling elephant dung and flies in your private workspace. You guys don't want us there, but you guys were like always exceedingly kind, always exceedingly professional, and so you made the relationship something that I wish it were between media and athletes, because it would be more respectful.
Let me ask you this: how hard is it to have public opinion? Because what you're saying there is like, even when you said you didn't use his name in the article, and now in whatever it was what it was, but having a public opinion, that's to me is one of the hardest things. When I retired, I told him this. When I retired and I went into the media, the hardest thing was standing up there and having a public opinion that you actually believe in, but how it's going to be perceived is another thing. Talk about that. I'm just curious on that. Like,
everybody's so damn sensitive.
Yeah, but and that's what I'm
way
saying.
Way more
like,
sensitive than I was 25 years ago.
You can't even have you can't. It's hard to have an opinion, really.
So this is a muscle that I've been exercising since I was a 20-year-old columnist, right? How do you develop a voice? Back then, people are handwriting letters and putting stamps on them to insult you when you've written the hard thing. But so you develop thickness, calluses of skin. I look at you and I'm like, how do you shoot three-pointers like that? And you're like, well, that's a muscle that I've developed for this many years. And so my job as a columnist and now in entertainment, it's changed over the years, but is to have what a good music producer's ear would be to recognize good music. So to others, not to me, not that other people, my job is to write about, think about the things that you'll find interesting when I say them. Not things I find interesting, things that you will find interesting. And so that's that muscle, working that muscle of how do I present an argument that will make someone feel something, think, rethink, what humanizes athletes, what's the sociology of sports, like all the things that it takes, all the stories you could tell through sports, from Colin Kaepernick, all of them, all of the stories you could tell through sports. This playground, I think, is one where I must, as part of the evolution of the business, develop a voice that found strength in, I'm going to give you my opinion. I'm going to defend my opinion. I'm going to fight for my opinion. I'm going to fight for my opinion in a way, that's going to be dangerous when you're coming after Donald Trump on ESPN Air and their corporate policy is, we're not going to talk about politics here, and I insist that I must, for all the reasons we've covered here about like how you develop a voice and the importance of the voice. It's not unlike, you asked me how do you develop a public voice, and I would say to you, how do you handle the situation that he found himself in after George Floyd, when the organization is asking him to bring peace between the black community and police officers at a time of strife? And I'm thinking his answer would be some form of, I don't know how I'm supposed to handle it, but I've been preparing for it all my life.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. I mean, I wasn't even, it wasn't even a thing that was planned. I actually was riding with my wife and kids. I don't know what we were doing that particular day, and I got a call from, at that time, he was a commissioner, Keon Hardeman. And he was the first person that asked me to come and put it on my radar. Then I got a text message from the Heat. But there was no preparation. There was no thought process into it. It's just like, I'll be there. And at first I thought I was just to support and just be somebody that can see my face and stand on the front line. And then it just came to me having a conversation, and the mic was in my face, and people were listening to my voice. And, and that's when you just got to be authentic. You got to be vulnerable. And for me, I've always been able to touch the people. I've never separated myself, no matter how much money I made. I've never been a guy where you had to come up to me and talk to my security first before you had to talk to me. I've always been the guy where, even though I made millions and had some success, I felt like you just felt like I was your neighbor. You know what I'm saying? You felt so. I get a chance to speak for the people because I am the people. I represent the people. I've never separated myself from the people, and I don't have to read about it in the paper, on the internet. The people tell me exactly what's going on and what they need, and I have the direct ear, and I have the platform to speak on it. So I was literally just me speaking on what the people have been telling me and what I know.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Let me ask you this, transitioning back into basketball, current state of the Miami Heat. What do you think?
Oh, they've spoiled us. Like, it is so hard. You see Sacramento fall back to the pack. Like, we've been, the last 20 years of it's always championship or bust makes it so a 10-10 team that needs to be 3 All-Stars instead of 2. It can't be that Tyler Hero's an All-Star, but only when Bam isn't. They need 3. They used to have 3 guys, and you guys joined them, and they need 3 guys again to go after. The Celtics have clearly passed them. The Celtics are just dragging the league because they've evolved everything that you guys did with positionless basketball. They now have a perfect thing that has surpassed the Miami Heat, and the team's not as relevant as it used to be, which hurts me because they've been passed, and it's not even because Philadelphia or Milwaukee have gotten that good. Yeah. It's because Boston has separated itself in a way that makes it difficult for anybody in the division to be relevant and makes the Knicks have the pieces to chase. But I will say this. I have seen Pat Riley say before a Make-A-Wish dinner in the morning that no one was going to be traded. And then 6 guys on the team were traded that night. So I don't think he's going to sit around approaching 80 years old for very much longer. You guys felt the furnace. Like, you guys were going to be out in year 2. 100%. One more game gets 100%, lost, and some people would have been out the door.
Yes, sir.
Like, he is not.
But we knew that.
Okay, but I'm guessing that Jimmy and Tyler and everybody knows now. Look, Pat Riley is late 70s. He still runs that franchise, even though it's a team of 5 people that run it. But everyone's trying to win now in that window. Maybe I got this wrong. We're taping this now. But I can't see Jimmy Butler being traded for pieces that don't bring back somebody better than Jimmy Butler. Like, I don't think they're trading for tomorrow.
For the future, yeah.
Like, no, I think they any trade they make this year is because they're working behind the scenes to get whoever. I don't even know who it would be, Joel Embiid or Anthony Edwards is mad because of how ownership is going. Whatever it is, it's not going to just be we're going to sit on our hands and do it again and try and get in as an 8 seed while Jimmy's contract comes up.
That's actually a perfect transition into our DraftKings segment. Our partners at DraftKings, the way too early Eastern Conference Finals and Western Conference Finals champ. Who you see? Because we just talked about, obviously, there's going to be trades, so it's way too early. There's going to be some movement. There's going to be everyone's going to pivot and change. Who do you have Eastern Conference Finals, Western Conference Finals right now?
Why are you smiling?
Because I know you're not going to say the Heat.
I'm not going to say the Heat. No, I would not say the Heat. The Celtics would have to get injured unless. Are you so hopeful that you are of the belief that the place that the Boston Celtics have the one weakness is that the Miami Heat might actually be tougher and summon whatever they summoned when Bam was blocking Tatum at the rim in the bubble?
I would say this. Boston is as probably good as they're going to get right now. And they are ahead of the field, and they're ahead of everybody else. I still think that there's some opportunities for the Heat to continue to grow because I like Spo in a 7-game series against anybody. He's going to put you in a position to win, and you're going to have a chance. But right now, nobody's going to sit here and say that Boston is not the best team in the East.
You'd be hopeful, but this is. I was thinking mostly out west because I think of the East as a foregone conclusion because of how good they have looked. And I mean, it's just ridiculous. Everything's double-digit wins. They never have double-digit deficits, and they're 30-plus games. It's asinine.
I mean, what they have is they have 5 guys that you have to guard at all times, and that's why they were able to take advantage of Dallas because there was no weak link for Luka, and they literally attacked Luka on defense every single time until they broke him. And I was watching the playoffs, and I was saying to myself, why won't teams just attack Luka? Because teams didn't have 5 guys that could attack him. When you look at Minnesota, they didn't have 5 guys. You had Anthony Edwards, and you had Cat. They was putting him on Gobert. They was moving him around to keep him out of the fire.
You say they don't have...
But Boston put his ass in the fire every single time. You got Derek White. You got Drew Holiday. You damn sure ain't guarding Jaylen Brown. You damn sure ain't guarding Tatum. Oh, and by the way, Al Horford going to put your ass in the basket too. This ain't Rudy Gobert down here. So there was nowhere for him to hide.
It's funny that you bring all of that up because I'd be curious what you guys think about this. I really wanted to see Denver and Boston in the final. I wanted a champion to be dethroned. I wanted Boston to have to earn it. And Denver has the 5 players that he speaks of. And I believe that I can summon the argument and not get too much argument from either one of you that Jokic is the best basketball player there has ever been. I'm putting it ahead of Jordan, ahead of LeBron. Just because the numerical efficiencies of what he is doing are unseen in the history of the game. Like, I understand he moves like a giant loaf of bread. I understand that we underestimate the things that he might do because athletically it doesn't seem like he's that gifted. But if Boston were playing Denver in a series, Boston would not have the best player.
Dan, I'm gonna give you a funny story about Joker. I sign in Denver. I go to training camp 2 days late because I did a buyout from Portland to go there. So I go there, and practice gets over, and the front office guys come over. So, what do you think of your team? I said, I don't know who that fat, ugly kid is right there, but he's your best player. And like, what are you talking about? He was a 53rd pick, wasn't even playing, and they had all these young. I said, no. It's like the Matrix when it hits his hands. The whole game just freezes. And I was like, I've never seen a young kid do that before. And then they don't really play him till about halfway through the season because they had Nurkic over there. They had all those guys. You know what I mean? Like they were a young up and coming team, and Mike Malone was like. But I was like, y'all gonna have to let that dude grow. Like, or get rid of something, you know what I mean? But I'm with you. I mean, I don't know if I go as far as.
No, well, I'm trying to get to your clicks.
I was going to say that.
But you can make them. Just if I put the numbers on a piece of paper from any one season and didn't give you the names, just said pick a player.
And I'm gonna be honest, you're not too far off though.
No, when you said that, I was going to say based on the numbers, how can I argue that? Yeah. It'd be you put the numbers in front of me, and how can I argue that with the production that he's given at the center position? But I mean, my GOAT gonna always be MJ. That's just my GOAT.
No, that's fine. I just did that for
but
shock
I agree
effect. You guys better get better at this game. You guys are too reasonable if you're trying to have a public opinion of MJ's the best. You take it easy, you D. Don't go out on a limb there with MJ's the best.
Well, go on a limb here and give me the Western Conference Finals.
That's my GOAT. Now,
Western Conference Finals.
Other GOATs could be Braun.
Yep.
What I would like to see, if not Denver, because I really like watching him play, and it's a level of mastery that's just a bit baffling to me.
It's fun to watch.
I don't understand what I'm watching when he's playing basketball for Denver, but I would also like to see if Anthony Edwards or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander can do any of the things that would topple the ogre, topple the guy who's physically much different than him. Give us, because the league is changing hands now, right? It's long overdue.
Yes.
It's been wrestled away from the old guys. And now, last year, it's the young guys, and before they get to Tatum, I'd like to see it. In the history of basketball, when you guys have developed your allegiances to whoever it is, Michael Jordan, it's because you're seeing the fight that has to be to get past Detroit. Like, what it looks like. The story is told to your kids about like through connection on like, this is why I love MJ or MJ's the best, because I saw what he had to do. He didn't go and make a super team in Miami. He just kept scoring 63 until he finally conquered Detroit. It's cool to watch the stories, and I'd like the young people to continue to take over the league because it makes the league better and more interesting for people to develop allegiances with the young people that they've had with the old people.
Love it. We're going to do a couple fan questions before we let you go. Is that cool?
Got one thing, though. Before we hit the fan questions, I got one thing, and this is something that we relate on. You know what I'm saying? And obviously from afar, I felt your pain, and I understood what you were dealing with because I lost a brother. I lost my brother when I was younger, and I was in college. And cancer has also impacted my family. I lost my father, I lost my stepmother, and my mother, all cancer stuff. Just talk about the impact and just that fight against cancer. After that taps your family, and after that, you know, obviously you deal with that because, like I said, I lost my brother, and it's impacted my family tremendously. But that fight, and then you never really heal from that. You know what I'm saying? My brother was the one who taught me to play basketball, so every time I pick up a basketball, my brother is coming to my mind.
Yeah, so you're gonna make me cry. And
no, I don't want to make you do that.
No, but it's good work by you. It's a key to the business as an interview. You got to get in there. And ask the questions that reveal things to people. So yes, it's a sickness that's in me every day, will not die, but that pain reminds me of the love, and so that will also not die. So I wake up a little sick because he was my little brother, and more than that, small Cuban family. So I raised him.
Yes.
Like I was his father, like my father, and complicated family dynamics, but my father had to go earn and work, and
Yes.
he's an exile. All it is work. You get to freedom. He had to work. So I'm the one raising my brother. So if the worst pain a human being can feel is the loss of a child, then watching an effervescent spirit like this, a colorful artist, watching his body deteriorate for 10 months, like he lived a giant life. Dance until his toenails fall off. Like, just really lived a big life as an artist. But the last 10 months are the most horrible thing that I've ever seen in my life, and the most pain that I will ever, can ever imagine enduring, because I'm saying goodbye. But the greatest blessing, because I got to say goodbye. I got to say all the things, and so the grief and the sickness and the pain isn't soaked in the anger or guilt of the stages of grief. I could just remember him, and it can hurt, and that love can hurt, but it can be a really beautiful thing.
I think that was a point in my life where I realized, like, memories are the things that you're gonna have. That's the value. That's the true value in life, are the memories. You know what I'm saying? Because when I sat in those hospital rooms with my mother, when I sat in those hospital rooms with my father, when I sat in there with my stepmother, when I sat in there with my brother, I watched all these people deteriorate and die in front of me. You know what I'm saying? You don't talk to nobody about it because who can relate?
Well, I don't think people know how tough you just are. Like, all that you've had to overcome to be who you are. Like, that's the sociology of that is fascinating to me. What you've allowed me to see, I've been honored to see, because you have an uncommon strength because you've seen things that I have not yet seen. This was unexpected. This is totally new to me. I had never felt a pain. I didn't know what this was. This is the first. And even with 10 months of deathbed warning, never saw it coming because it's my little brother. Like, he's not going to die. He's my little brother.
Yeah. And that's how I felt about my father. There's no way nobody's going to tell me that my father wasn't going to beat it. But I say that to say this is where I find joy at is the memories. All the memories that we had, because I don't want to remember what I saw in that hospital.
Yeah.
That's not how I want to remember them. Mm-hmm. So all the memories that we had prior to those, I hold near and dear to my heart, and they were so valuable to me. And that's why at those points in my life, I started to realize the true value out here. That's where the true value is, in making those memories with the people that you love, because you don't know when those days are going to change.
You're doing it right now, though. I will reiterate to you guys and to your audience, the kinship that this is unusual, and it is a blessing for them to be able to get to see it live and breathe, because this kind of brotherhood forged through sports over all of the day's cultural boundaries, for you guys to connect in a place that is real love, like real love, sacrificial, would do anything for you. Brotherhood love. It is a special thing. The best of these things are relationship shows. All of these things, you have a video component, but the intimacy of the audio experience, where you are living in someone's head, is why podcasts are as popular as they are. And this is a special relationship show, because this is a special relationship.
Well, we appreciate that. Now, and our audience has a couple questions for you, if that's all right.
Yep.
What's the best advice you ever received?
Wasn't Pat telling you to change jobs every 10 years?
No,
Ain't gonna work out for you. Don't try that shit at home.
No, don't try that. Don't try that.
Yeah, SBI one.
Don't try that at home. I will say, in keeping with the conversation that we just had, it's not the advice as much as the circumstance of it. Being next to my brother and watching all of that happening, and having him insist that I get to a more forgiving, gentle place with myself, tolerating mistakes, treating failure as learning, gentle with myself, would allow me to have more access to joy in life. Wow. And we were just talking about 17 years you played? 17
Yes, sir.
years. So busy competing, fighting, worrying, in pain that you don't get to enjoy it. And then you look back and are like, man, that went by fast. Why didn't I enjoy it? Why didn't I enjoy it? And it's because everybody's coming for your money. Everybody's coming for your job. You're getting 12 minutes a night because whatever.
Exactly.
Like,
That's right.
Like, and so you may not have enjoyed it, but now both of you in this incarnation of competition are getting a second chance to enjoy it with the lessons learned, and you can share it with each other, which would lead to joy. A long-winded answer, but it's just
really
it's recent advice, but it's the place that it comes from more than the words. I felt like if you're watching someone die, you gotta live. You know, like.
Yeah, great point.
And it's like, well, you just said it. We talked off camera. Like, it is wild how you go 20 years, 17, you play. You don't even you get done and you didn't even have a chance to really, like, you're never in the moment of it.
I mean,
you're always
people-
what's next. You're always
People
what's
didn't
next.
like me until I stopped playing. When I was over there coaching and mentoring guys, but I was still on the team, but I was just a mentor. People started liking me. When I was playing every single night and competing, nobody liked me. Nobody liked me when I was competing every night. Once I became a mentor and I became the OG and I was on that sideline and I wasn't competing every night, I was surprised how many people would start to have conversations with me and actually really like me.
How much more joyous was that? Like, you won one way, hard, jagged, strong, but the other way it seems like it would have more human fulfillment in it, if
my
not
gosh.
as much winning.
Oh, just as much, man. When I watch, Bam get his money, and when I watch Tyler, get Sixth Man of the Year, and I remember having conversations with Tyler about coming off the bench that year, and I told him if we win, then everybody wins. When I watch Gabe get paid, and Caleb Martin, Hassan Whiteside, Max Strus, I mean, the list goes on and on of guys that have come in that locker room that have been undrafted, and I'm just poured into these guys. You know what I'm saying? Because I see so much of myself in these guys. So when those guys get paid and those guys get rewarded, I feel like I'm
That's
sharing.
funny the way that he's saying that, though, right? Because so in the business of the sport, there's a heart. He's seeing the undrafted guy, and you guys are both seeing, you guys have a special vantage point on nobody actually knows how hard it is to go from Max Strus to money, from Gabe Vincent to money. He keeps mentioning money because everyone's fighting for money. No, you get them cheap and you dispose of them so you don't have to pay them money. And you can get the other guys who will work cheaper and get you the money. And so, like, that you guys, for you to teach those guys and feel the genuine pride of, and now they don't have to worry about moving from city to city and can take care of kids that I've met and I love and don't have to worry about their future. It's a pretty cool thing to get the fulfillment. I'm getting, so I don't have kids. And what I get is the fulfillment of, I have the family that has grown around me and what it is that we do. We get to work in a space that is creatively fun and enriching for people. And there's great joy in that.
One more fan question, then we'll let you go. Have you made up with Shaq, it says?
Damn, you a big fella beefing?
Well, look, I hope not. I really, it's not a beef that I want. I mean, come on.
I tried to break him and Pat up.
Come on.
Threw me out the way. I went down to the other end. I was like, yeah, I'm out of that.
Yeah. So I have said in the past, and maybe Udonis will co-sign this. I don't know if he respects Shaq to co-sign that, too much to co-sign this. I have simply said in the past, and I think it's the only thing that's gotten him angry, that for someone who is so excellent at so many things, I'm surprised that in some spots he's more sensitive than I thought he would be. Doesn't make him any less human or anything else. I've just found him sensitive to criticism that is benign, and that's not as someone who's like, what are you going to criticize about Shaq? Like, I mean, like, Shaq's a lovely person who's done, who everybody seems to like, who's done a lot of winning, and I don't have any issue with Shaq. But if indeed he did get mad at me for saying that he was too sensitive, then he is too sensitive, and I get to be right about him being too sensitive, while wanting no quarrel with him.
Well, I will say,
Ever.
I will tell you this, and this is one thing I know about Shaq. His relationship that he has now with Stephen A. Smith, and both, I got this story from Shaq, and I actually asked Stephen A. Smith about it, or either I got it from Stephen A. and I asked Shaq about it. It was based on him being criticized. And I think he had to end up having a conversation with Stephen A. about it. And from that conversation, they grew a relationship and they ended up being friends. So I say this to say, you still got a chance.
Oh, I've had that happen over the years with Stan Van Gundy.
Yeah, you still got a chance.
Stan Van Gundy's become a very good friend because Stan Van Gundy got tired when Pat Riley came down and replaced Stan Van Gundy. I was writing
All
a
right,
lot.
we got cut.
I was writing.
Cut. What are you doing, Dan?
It's a good story.
Oh, let me hear it.
We'll do it the next time. We'll save it for the next time. It's a good story, though. Stan Van Gundy calls me up because I keep writing in the newspaper that even Stan Van Gundy would admit that Pat Riley is a better coach, and if he came down here to coach the Miami Heat, it would be better for the Miami Heat. And after I wrote it 2 or 3,
Dan,
come on.
you gut punching.
It is Pat Riley. Like, it's not exactly an insult.
Damn.
Well, but Stan called me after the second or third time I wrote it, and it's like, I would not tell you that. I would not tell anybody that. Please stop writing that. That's not something that I would say. And so from criticism sometimes comes the respect and the relationship because you guys aren't soft to criticism. Media members are soft to criticisms. It's why I say I'm surprised Shaq is so sensitive to criticism because he so obviously was overwhelming and excellent, and I do understand why he would look at any media member like me and be like, do you understand that I am more excellent at what I do for a living than you will ever be at anything you ever try? I'm one of the best in the world at basketball. So I think he should be immune from feeling any sensitivity to criticism, but that would make him less human than he is as a person who doesn't look to anybody like he's from this world.
You'd be surprised how many things that really can get on our nerves and really strike a nerve with us. You know, as much as we have thick skin, it could be something as small as something like that that gets up under our skin sometimes. And I don't know if we can really explain it. I don't know if we have an
you
explanation
explained it at the beginning of this by holding that thing from 25 years ago against me. I didn't even use your name.
Listen,
You're looking for slights in the shadows.
and then you made me have a problem with Travis Knight. He did nothing. He did nothing.
He did nothing.
He did nothing to me.
He did
Now I
nothing
just- yeah,
but
now I just-
B610.
Well, Dan, I'll tell you right now, honestly, we appreciate you coming in. Absolute
This
legend.
is one of my favorite shows.
Yes,
This is
and
one of my favorite
it's fun.
shows.
It's fun to see because you being in Miami and seeing what we went through, seeing a different aspect of it. It's fun to hear your stories along with our stories to come together. So, man, we really appreciate you coming in here and doing this.
I wish to be of service however I can. I wish to support what you guys are doing, which is great, wherever that I can. And I tell you from the most sincere of places. As the high school dork who wanted to write about sports because he wasn't brave enough or good enough to do them, you guys have been two of the best professionals in my career that I have dealt with, interacted with, and it is genuinely flattering because I know your histories from the state of Florida back before you were as famous and championed as you are now. And it is very flattering that you guys would want to ask me an hour's worth of questions about anything because I'm so grateful that you spent so many hours answering my question all of these years.
Thank you.
Well, I wouldn't mind you flattering me and calling me on your show for an hour.
I've requested it. Look, this is what I wanted to do, and okay, I'm going to get in trouble here. I want Bill Simmons during the Miami Heat, Boston Celtics back and forth. Bill Simmons, a famous Boston fan.
I know who Bill Simmons is.
Looked sad in the stands.
Yes, I know exactly
and
who
after
he
you
is.
guys beat him, and it was a meme and stuff.
I remember that.
We were going to have you come in and raise the banner in our offices of Bill Simmons. We had it made and everything. Of
banners of Bill Simmons.
Of Bill Simmons' sad face after you beat him, but I
I'll
don't
tell you
know.
something. That was a great feeling that night. Oh, that was a great feeling. Oh, that felt good.
Well,
That felt good.
only way we can leave here that I feel is appropriate in honor of not because of legend Poppy is leaving by saying head.
And more.
Ed Mohead. Not hey, head. Ed Mohead.
OG's out. OG's out. Appreciate y'all.